Have you been wondering how to find purpose in this new season of life? You've been sitting there asking yourself, what am I going to do? Maybe your kids moved out of the house. Maybe your spouse passed away some years ago. Maybe you're now caring for your aging parents. Or maybe you just got laid off from work. Who knows? You might have even gone through a divorce. No matter the circumstances that led up to this moment, you may be wondering, what am I going to do now? How do I find my purpose here? I am a purpose-driven person, and I have wrestled with this super heavy over the past couple of years. I always intend to align with what I was put on this earth to do. I had invested nearly 2 decades of my adult life in ministry. I was in church. I had hopes and dreams of what God would do and how I wanted things to play out. And I was working toward that actively. I was sacrificing in the interim in order to get where I thought God was taking me. I went to graduate school in my 30s and got 2 master's degrees to help me better serve God's people. And I settled into the idea that my purpose in life was somehow connected to how I was helping people in ministry. When I went through the end of my relationship, I was married to a pastor, and my entire ministry life disappeared. Ministering to people from the stage, having the microphone and leading people in worship, just leading in general, hosting Bible studies. The invitations to speak at other churches, being around my ministry friends and colleagues, having ministry opportunities just stopped. There were no public places in my world to utilize my training, my gifting, my calling. It was a very, very different experience. I get some people will say to me, well, you know, God can use you anywhere. Just go to another church and be used by God. And God could use you on a street corner. I hear what you're saying, sis. But I then invested a life having the expectation that it was going to lead to somewhere. I'm doing all this because this is what I was put on the earth to do. And it's going to take me to doing that in greater and more fulfilling ways. And in a moment, it was done. Talk about anticlimactic, okay? I was okay with the idea of my marriage being over. What I didn't quantify was my life and my entire life's mission and purpose being disrupted as well. I never saw that part. So after a period of time, I sat down. I did nothing. I absolutely did nothing. I didn't do anything in ministry. I didn't develop any of those skills. I didn't work in a ministry setting. I didn't serve people the way that I had been accustomed to serving them. And I just sat. I sat and did a lot of soul searching. I sat and figured out, where and what my life was going to look like. I realized so much about myself, and I realized that in order to receive love, I did a lot. So we don't always tell the truth. My serving of God had a lot to do with me, had a lot to do with affirmation and me being wanted and valued and needed, me having the appearance that I had some sort of status, that I was a part of some elite club, that I was a servant of God. Okay? I learned in that season of my life that, Myesha, you were doing a lot of this, but it was feeding something inside of you. I sat and did nothing. And I learned that receiving love doesn't have to come from service. And this was when I started to understand the importance of renegotiating what my purpose looks like. Absent of everything that I had known, I was asking the question, what is my purpose now? What does all of this look like now? How can I be used now? What do I do? What do I do with all my skills and experience? How can I be helpful to people? Here I am in my own little neck of the woods, living my life, waking up, taking care of my kids. And it was like, okay, but you were meant for more than that. Here's my question to you. What if this transition or new season of life allows you to clarify your purpose in greater ways? Because that's what happened to me. These questions, these deeper questions, taking a deep dive, they led me to be right here, right now, talking to you. Now, let me tell you, the congregation is different, baby. The setting looks different, but the mission is still the same. Finding purpose in a new season can be deeply rewarding and transformative. And I'm grateful because of it. God never promised me everything was going to stay the same. He just promised me that he would never change. Don't be afraid to revisit. Don't be afraid of being uncomfortable. To sit down while you figure things out and go on a journey with yourself and ask yourself the questions. Ask God the questions. Ask this universe the questions. What do you want? Why was I put here on this earth? What am I going to do now? For me, it was sit and be still for a long time. This is the longest time I had ever not been with a microphone singing. I'm still surprised myself. I have gone the longest amount of time not serving people in the ways that I had for the previous 22 years of my life. Here is what I believe will help you discover and embrace your purpose in a new phase of life. By all means, grieve the life you've once lived. Grieve what purpose looked like for you. Grieve that, express that, cry that out, write it out, mourn it. All that could have been, especially when you lost someone prematurely, someone you love and they died and it was unexpected. I've heard it said, grief is love with nowhere to go. And when you've poured out everything into something, you had hope. You might have saw yourself sitting and laughing with gray hair because you would die together. You might have seen, like me, myself in ministry, traveling, speaking, doing things. And I have a hope of where things was going to land. Like when I invested 20 years, my retirement looked differently, right? I could have put 35 years in and retired and enjoyed my life in a different way. All that changed. Grief is love with nowhere to go. Give yourself time and grieve what could have been, what you thought should have been, but what isn't anymore. Take time to reflect on your values, your passions, your strengths, your interests. Think about what brings you joy and fulfillment. What gives you a sense of meaning? This self-reflection helps you identify what matters to you. This is not a cut and paste job. This is not doing what your mama said you were good at or what your ex said you were bad at or what somebody else thinks. You got to do this for yourself. This is between you and you. Set intentions, clarify your intentions and your goals for this new season of life. That means when you're asking yourself these questions and you're sitting with yourself and you're saying, okay, what are my values? What's important to me? With or without this person, with or without this job, with or without ministry, with or without a spouse, what's important to me? Set intentions that in this new season of life, here is what I want to achieve. Here's what I want to experience, and here's what I want to contribute. This is how I want to add value. For me, my priority was healing. No matter what I'm doing, I got to heal. I got to put some stuff into perspective. I got to grieve some of my losses. That was the primary goal. That's the intention that I set. By any means necessary, I'm going to get through this and I'm going to find my strength. I'm going to find my power. I'm going to believe in myself again. And everything else was secondary to that. It's not about what I can do. It's not about how I'm going to make money. It's not about how I'm going to do any of those things. Right now, all I'm going to do is heal. And I didn't care about anything else. It was just second, third, fourth, fifth on the list. Set clear intentions and stay focused and aligned with that. That was my purpose at the moment. Surviving, taking care of my body, eating enough, and not dying. Okay? And for a period of the journey, my intention was to do nothing, was to accept everything as it is and allow God to teach me what he wanted me to be and who he wanted me to be and what I needed to do. You can also explore new opportunities. This is a great way. Be open to new things, new experiences, new challenges, new opportunities that come your way. Step out of your comfort zone. Try something new and different. I did so many things new and different. I mean, I even had my first shot, okay? Yeah, I had never had a shot of alcohol in my adult life. And I was trying it out, okay? Embrace the unknown. These things can lead to you discovering new passions. I discovered I'm not an alcohol drinker, okay? So it was a win. It was a win. You can also connect with other people. Get around like-minded, supportive individuals who inspire you and engage you and encourage you. Get in these conversations. Start talking and experiencing yourself in the company of other people. It's beautiful. Even if you got to follow them on social media and listen to YouTube videos like you're listening to me right now, whatever you got to do to put yourself in an environment that's going to nurture and develop and support you as you are moving in this new direction. Embrace change as a natural part of life's journey and be open to growth and transformation. That's all I can say, honestly. Be willing to adapt and evolve and learn from these things along the way. I had that growth mindset constantly. Like, I want to be better. I want to do better. I want to find my purpose. And along the way, I'm going to be helping others. I started serving others. Serving others for me meant I get a DM, I get a question, and I answer it. That was my ministry. That was how I was helping people. And I needed to trigger those feel-good endorphins by doing what I've always done, which was service. It just looked differently. And at this point, I had the tools to be in service of me first. And then I appreciated meeting the needs of others. See how you want to make a positive impact. And it looks different. It may sound different. It may feel different, but the heart of it is still the same. You can volunteer, mentor somebody, get a little cousin, a little niece, a little nephew, whatever you got to do. But you might find and discover more of your purpose as you go. It's not this pie in the sky that's just going to open up to you and say, my daughter, or this is what I want you to do in this life. You might just be doing it and go, this is cool. I like what's happening here. This feels right. I'm going to stick with this for a little bit longer and see how it goes. And then lastly, I practiced gratitude. I was thankful for everything that I experienced. I was hopeful for what was to come. I said, thank you for 20 years, 22 years of ministry in this way. Thank you for what you taught me. Thank you for the lessons learned. You are still writing my story, God. And I am so appreciative that it's not over yet. I'm still figuring out what that looks like. Life may be very different a year from now, and I'm okay with it. I have found purpose in everyday moments, and it has been the best experience ever. I listen to my inner voice, my intuition. I listen to my instincts. I've built trust with myself. I align with my values, my purpose, my passions, even if it's not conventional. And that has led me to the beautiful space of self-discovery and finding purpose in the here and now.